I try to be biased with people in their reviews, and I like a movie they don't. That's fine. Okay, dick. Corey, the next 5-star review. Welcome back, everybody. And in case you missed the thumbnail, Nate and I watched the 1985 comedy board game movie Clue. I mean, it's the only board game I know that made into a movie.
Not for nothing. It's not like you're pulling Parcheesi out and making a movie about Parcheesi. I mean, any war movie is Risk.
Yeah, well, I'm about to say they did Risk, but you know what? They did do Battleship. They did do Battleship.
And Candyland would be a great Shoots and Ladders.
Yeah,
great movie. Dungeons and Dragons, they did it.
They did that a board game though. That's a role playing game, isn't it? Is it a board game also?
Yeah. Find it in the comments.
Yes, well, because basically what like Nate was saying, it's the board game of Clue. What basically happens is 6 complete strangers show up to a mansion at night when they were invited, said, "Hey, come here because we know someone's blackmailing you and we're going to stop it." So you all come under aliases of the colors of the rainbow. I think they're all the colors of the rainbow.
Scarlet isn't.
That's red.
Yeah, but it's Roy G. Biv. It's not Soy G.
Yeah, but it's still okay. Fair enough. And then through the course of the night, they start to find out a little bit about each other, and someone dies with all the weapons in the board game to everyone's availability, and they got to figure out who killed them, and that's the whole movie. And it's simple.
I would say it's the most simplified version of it. So Mr. Body calls the meeting of all these people that are being blackmailed, and spoilers, they all have some sort of high-profile job.
Mm-hmm.
Either they live or work in Washington, D.C., or they have some sort of international job. So, yeah, Mr. Body is blackmailing them.
Ladies and gentlemen, you all have one thing in common. You're all being blackmailed.
And then it's just good.
I know it's hard to say much more.
Right. So,
because it's 35 years old.
Let's talk about the first running joke of the movie. Tim Curry steps in dog shit. Wadsworth.
That's the very first. I was like, he's gonna miss the actual first joke. The first joke is dog shit.
And every single person walks in, and they're like, and they check their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a subtle, like, joke. Like, yeah, it's easy to miss, but if you catch it, it's funny.
It is because, like you said, he walks in, he sees a vet, and he walks away from a vet. Then the vet checks her shoes. Then Mr. Mustard or Colonel Mustard, and all of them. I don't know if every one of them did it. The last 2, I don't think did. But the point is, to your point, they're just kind of they're not taking it. They're not like making it a big deal, like going, "Oh, what's that smell?" It's just
like, do I smell shit?
We all know what that smells like. We've all done that.
Exactly. It's another movie that we reviewed where there's constant smoking, which makes sense for the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Who
was your favorite character out of all the characters? And by the way, there's those 6: Wadsworth, Mr. Body, which is 8. There was a cop. There was a motorist. There was a dancing girl, telegram girl. There was the cook. There was I think that was it.
Wait, the police chief at the very end.
Very good, yes.
I want to say I liked Mr. Green the most because he's like, when Tim Curry is chasing him down the hall, or Wadsworth is chasing him down the hallway, and he's just like trying to get away. He slaps Miss Peacock in the face. I got to stop
her screaming.
And he's like, "Well, I'm not waiting for Wadsworth out me. I'm a homosexual."
Yeah. That was all his lines was excellent. Not all of them, but it was like, and I'm not sure if anybody's watched this movie, but if you watch Lion King, I know they do a callback to this movie. I don't care what anyone says, and I've said this since I first saw Lion King. In Lion King, after Simba comes back, well, the hyenas are chasing the mercat, and then you see the little bird inside the cage says, "Let me out, let me out," and he goes, let me in," and goes in there, and that's was in this show as the two in the one room, like, let us out, let us out, let us in, let us in. It's the exact same thing.
Now, so Mr. Green is my favorite, but I have to put there is a caveat. I love Miss Scarlet. Like,
yeah, Leslie Ann Warren is a very sexy lady.
spoilers. This movie has 3 endings.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, we do.
In one of the endings, she's like, "You're so good. How did you do that?" Like,
who are you, Perry Mason?
yes, that scene. I love that scene. Her
She's
acting
adorable.
in it is superb.
True or false?
True. Who are you? Perry Mason.
Everyone's acting is superb, and every character is completely different type of characters. They are all thrown together. I don't know how the director did this. My favorite is Mr. Green as well, with the caveat of Mrs. White. I think everything Miss White says is just, I mean, just the time, and they all have that timing, but that whole thing with her husband, it's like, well, he was a very, bullheaded man. I'm sure it came as a great shock to him that he died. But your second husband, well, yeah, because he was an illusionist. He's supposed to disappear. He never reappeared.
He wasn't very
good. The writing was top notch.
I agree. I can only imagine the pitch meeting for this movie.
Mm.
Hey, I got an idea for a movie. Okay. Well, hear me out. It's going to set in the period of 1950s New England, America.
Yeah, I think they're near Washington D.C. for sure.
Well, they live in D.C., but they're in New England. Now, I don't know if you know this, viewers at home. New England isn't a fucking state. It's a region. So to have a map of New England is very dumb to try to find a specific house on a specific street in a specific state town.
I'm going to presume it's Baltimore because that is New England, and Baltimore's on the other side of Washington, D.C. Because not Virginia, because Virginia is not New England.
No, I actually kind of assumed it was New Hampshire or Vermont.
It could have been, but that's a long way to drive to Washington, D.C., though, isn't it?
It's a drive, yeah. But I don't know. Either way, the deductive I don't know if this is because Wadsworth knows these people so well when he does his little ending things.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are so plausible, and he does such a great role. Like, well, this person killed this person because they said at this point that they really liked something that this person specializes in.
Right. So
and it's only familiar in Cantonese
cuisine.
And monkey's brains, though popular in Cantonese cuisine.
So it is like, motherfucker, like, how is anybody going to understand that except for
I
you?
don't know. Exactly. But now that because I know how the whole movie goes, I know the 3 endings, and when it came out in theaters, I don't know because I didn't watch it in theaters. I became a fan afterwards on VHS, and they had all 3 endings. But in a lot of theaters, they had one ending or another ending or the third ending.
I think
not every theater had all 3 endings. They changed it up. But as I'm watching it this time, I know the last ending, so I'm like, who was the one not with us in this room? That's killer. And I watched, and sure enough, not there. I'm like, you could see that person leave. You could pop out. I'm like, holy, they didn't just make this up at the end. They actually had this planned this way.
I also looked at through that prism because this is not the first time I've ever seen the movie Clue. This is probably my 5th time ever watching it.
It's the best murder mystery there is.
It's fun. It doesn't take itself too serious. It doesn't lean into like when the cop shows up, like you all seem jumpy. The chandelier just fell.
Yes, it did.
It makes so much like I would be scared a little shitless too if I almost died from the chandelier.
As we talked before, there are 6 characters. I know we're kind of going out of order here. There's Mustard, Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, Miss White, Mr. Green,
Peacock,
and Miss Peacock. I guess Peacock isn't called the rainbow either. So those are the 6 characters so people know. And we really didn't talk about Professor Plum. He just kind of was there. I mean, he had some funny moments. I really enjoyed this movie when I first watched it, and I've watched it so many times.
I've introduced people to this movie.
I introduced my kids to this movie.
Yeah. Like,
there's a handful you introduce your kids to, and you hopefully like it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about this movie before we move on to the reviews?
I think there's a human head in the attic. So before they split up and then they reconvene.
Right.
And then they split up again. So at that point, there's a cut with Mr. Green and there's a bunch of taxidermy heads.
Yes, because when the lights go out or whatever, and they show like everyone's by themselves.
Right.
Yes.
Right before they cut away, from him to the next scene, there appears to be a box with a human head in it. And how the fuck does that not freak you out?
I'm gonna guess it's a mannequin head. I have to rewatch it now because I haven't seen
I don't know. Like, I was hoping to see it again. And if I was gonna be like editing this, I would have like thought about like trying to find it. So I might go back and try to find it again, but I'm fairly certain there's a human head. But this is a movie that you can watch multiple times and get something new out of it. And like, I forgot there were 3 endings. I knew
that was nice.
I knew the endings,
right?
But I forgot there were 3 of them. So like when as we were watching it, things are coming back to me, and I was like, "Oh yeah!" And I told Brody, I'm like, "If anything, this here is the best part of the movie."
Well, and let's give a shout out to Tim Curry because he holds this whole movie together. He is brilliant through the whole thing. He's funny. He's on time. His expressions are great. He figures everything out, and he changes his personality there at the end about who, you know. So, and of course, the question about Clue in the game. Mr. Body's dead. Who killed him and with what and where?
Mm-hmm. Question
is answered. There's only one answer to that question, even though I've had this argument with people, and they give me the one of the 3 endings, and they say the last one. Well, this one. No. There's only one answer. And if you'd watch it, you don't. Anyways.
Yes, I agree with
you.
Nobody cares about who killed the butler, the bakery, the cook, the groundskeeper, the whoever. Nobody cares about those. Who killed Mr. Body in what room with what weapon?
Okay, well, the first 5-star review for this movie is from KHB. The comedic timing of all the actors is priceless. Most of these actors are passing away quickly. Clue is well worth watching, especially the ending. I would have loved to see the outtakes, as I am sure they are trying to make each other break character.
Oh, That would be.
Outtakes would be.
I want to see the director's cut of this movie.
Oh
This
my-
movie rolled real thorough. I wouldn't mind seeing a longer version of this movie.
Not even, it's like an hour and a half long. And didn't you say that Ryan Reynolds was trying to redo a Clue?
I believe he is.
So.
This 1 star or less comes from Daniel A. Labor to get through the whole time. I was wishing a giant truck would drive through my living room window and save me from this debacle of a film. I want my time spent back. You're awarded no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
No, okay.
A little harsh.
Yeah. It's like I try to be biased with people in their reviews, and I like a movie they don't. That's fine. Okay, dick. Corey, the next 5-star review is Corey M. Brilliantly written and executed, slapstick mixed with sophisticated humor, combined to make a great movie for anyone to enjoy. I watch at least twice a month.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a fan. Twice a year, maybe. Twice a month.
I think it, once or twice a year is
Right on. Right,
I've watched it with the last 2.
Yeah, right there around there with Goon. I mean, absolutely.
I can always watch the Goon. I need to watch the second one. This 1 star or less comes from Devil's A. This movie violated the #1 rule when dealing with a murderer. Do not split up because you are asking to be killed. Everyone should find a large room and stay there until the police come. The jokes are really lame. I got out of breath watching Tim Curry running everyone ragged. I do not recommend this movie as the jokes and slapstick is really bad.
Hey, Devils. They split up in pairs, so they still were safe. Like Mustard said, hey, or someone goes, if we split up, someone could kill the other one, and then we would know who the killer is.
They explained it.
Yes, but wait till the police get there. If you watch the movie, you would know they weren't coming.
Yeah, I don't know why we were gonna wait. They're not coming. I didn't call them. Did you call them?
But I guess the characters didn't know. Okay, that's okay. Devil's A. Is that like Devil's Anus? Is that what that's short for? Maybe.
That's what I was thinking. It makes me want deviled eggs.
What the F review by Mike J. There's so many movies I can't keep track anymore. I've probably seen more than 2,000 movies in my lifetime, and I'm only 23 years old.
So is this a standard bullet for every movie this Mike J does for every movie?
I'm guessing. Oh, this was 2.5 stars, by the way. I don't know what.
Okay, good for you, Michael J.
So now we are getting into the audience versus critics part. The critics, Rotten Tomatoes, scored this at a whopping 71%. Never thought they would. They don't tend to like these kind of movies.
Oh.
Audience, which is you and I, 86%. And I agree. I agree with these two ratings.
I absolutely agree as well. I think, I can understand why Rotten Tomatoes would give this a 71. It's not like it's an Emmy movie or a Grammy or it's not an award-winning movie. It does have a star-studded cast. It periods itself very well. And then the audience with 86 makes total sense because it's a campy cult film. It's like Rocky Horror Picture Show or any other, probably for this matter, except for McHale's Navy. People probably love them. And you get that kind of stuff. It makes sense. Yeah.
It does. Okay, so now I am going to tell everyone what I think and what my trees are going to be. It's going to be 1 through 5, as you all should know. Love the cast. And as Nate mentioned earlier, it's star-studded. These were all big. They weren't like the top actors of the time, but they were well known. Every last one of them. They were all, you knew, like, oh, I know that guy. I know that. Most of them character actors. They were all on point. The writing was excellent. The directing was perfect. The cinematography, the I don't know if that was a real house or if that was a stage, and they did that well. Any idea?
I believe it's a house.
I think so too. There was a little bit at the beginning where you could tell it was a matted finish when they would do the lightning. It's like, why'd the car stop? It's frightened. That that was hilarious. Okay, Mr. Plum, Professor Plum, we'll get on you.
All right, well done. That's probably the funniest thing you said the whole movie.
It's frightened. Anyways, not everything made me laugh that way, but a lot of it did, and other things were cute. We talked about the poop gag going on. Another gag going on that I have stole is, we go to make a long story short. Too late. When someone says that to me, I say too late because of this movie. There's so many things I like about it. I can't think of anything not to like about it. It's a comedy. It's fun. It's not too serious, as you said. It ties itself up in a little bow. It's like Mrs. Peacock was a man. See, cute little things. As much as I want to give this 5 trees, I can't. As much as I want to give it 4 trees and 1 stump, I've only did that with the Spinal Tap. And it's just not quite that.
It's got a similar actor in it.
It does, Mike McKinnon or whatever his name is, McKinnon. But I am giving this thing 4 trees, easy. And I would recommend it to my surgeon.
I'm not gonna beat this horse up any more than we already beat it up. Like I said, I love this movie. It was hard to find 1-star comments, so the audience clearly loved it. My son enjoyed it. He actually gave this movie 3 trees and a stump. After discussing this movie with you a little bit more, I think it deserves a little bit better. So I will recommend this movie to everyone. Like I said, I introduce people to this movie all the time. They never heard of it. So I will actually agree with you, good sir. At a 4-tree movie, I think your whole family can watch it. It's a little bit raunchy for a PG movie. So if you're a little bit of a helicopter parent, you're probably going to wait it out a little bit. My kid was 13 to watch this movie because it was a little sexy. So
But it was made in the 1950s. So, I mean, not made, but
yeah, it was an 85 movie.
Yeah. No.
And it aged great. It still ages very well. Like it's
because it's a parody piece of the 50s, so that's going to age fine.
Yeah.
That's your review. Okay, sorry. Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for coming in and watching one of my favorite movies. Nate loved this movie too. I appreciate your likes and your comments and your subscribing and your telling friends. Please check us out on TikTok. The things right here, and we will see you next Friday on Trees in Space.